Hello readers, it's Sasha, and today I'm going to be doing the 10 books that I would like to read in 2021 video. So I've compiled a list of 10 semi-popular books here in the book community that I haven't read yet that I'd really like to get to in 2021. So this isn't in any particular order. I just picked books off of my TBR list that I have that I would really like to get to. So the first book on the list is The Black Kids by Christina Hammonds Reed. This book takes place in 1992 LA, where Ashley and her 4 friends are seniors in high school, and they're living a pretty good, pretty fun life. That is until 4 police officers are acquitted of beating a man named Rodney King half to death. Now, Ashley and her friends and the rest of LA are debating on the age-old question, us versus them, but Ashley is really struggling to figure out who the us versus the them are. So this sounds like another fantastic young adult book that is exposing the injustices within the justice system. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting to this one. This one did just come out this year in 2020, so it's not that old, but it's one that as soon as I heard about it, I knew that I wanted to read it, so here's to 2021. Next is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. This is another book that came out in 2020, but I did not read, so I would love to read it in 2021. This book is about a young trans boy named Yadriel, whose Latinx family refuses to acknowledge his identity. Yadriel, with the help of his cousin Maritza, is seeking the ghost of his murdered cousin in order to set it free, but instead, he finds the ghost of Julian Diaz, the high school's bad boy, and Julian does not want to leave. He does not want to go to death. So they make kind of a deal where they will help each other finish up for Julian his unfinished business and for Yadriel finding the soul of his cousin. So they spend time together, and Yadriel soon decides, okay, you know what, like maybe I don't want him to leave, you know, like I'm not ready, not as excited for him to leave as I thought I was. So that is what this is about. This sounds so cute. I know literally everyone loved it. It broke everyone's soul, and I'm ready. I'm ready to feel the pain that Cemetery Boys has brought everybody else. I'm ready. It's gonna happen. The next book I'm hoping to read is Dear Martin by Nick Stone. This is a very, very, very short book, and I like that. I like very short books. This is about a boy named Justice who is at the top of his class. He is literally on his way to an Ivy League school. Justice turns to the words of Martin Luther King Jr. in order to find wisdom in navigating a new neighborhood and a new school. So he is getting scorn from his old peers for moving on, and he's getting a lot of ridicule from his new classmates because his new classmates don't believe that he's on the same level that they are. And then one day, Justice and his friend Manny are out driving, and they have their music up very, very loud and their windows down all the way, and it really enrages this off-duty white officer. And words are exchanged and shots are fired, and now Justice is trying to maneuver the world being involved in such a media frenzy story, but the problem is the media is kind of turning against him. So this book sounds heartbreaking. It sounds unfortunately very realistic to the situation that a lot of young Black kids face. So this is definitely another one that I really would love to get to in 2021. Next is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. This book is about a girl named Audrey who is born into a life of luxury, a life of wealth, and on the side, she lives the secret, forbidden life. Audrey often slips away from her dad and her family and goes to her uncle's laboratory where she studies the wonders of forensic medicine. But soon, her uncle gets these bodies that have been brutally murdered in his lab to study, and she sees them too, and she starts getting involved in the study. And now she's searching for answers, but her search is actually taking her closer to home than she ever would have thought. So I've heard a lot of mixed things about this. I know that from what I've heard, it's very relationship heavy, like it doesn't focus as much on the crime aspect as a lot of people were expecting, but I feel like for me going into it knowing that, I think I might actually really enjoy it. But if I hadn't known that and I had just gone right into it without at all understanding that the crime aspect was kind of pushed to the side, I'd be annoyed. But now that I know that it isn't, I feel like I'm gonna like it. I'm always down for romance. I'm always down for a little love, but not when I think a book is going to be something else. So I think I'm gonna like this. Next is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. This book is about Princess Lyra, who is silent royalty. She has killed and collected the hearts of 17 different princes. Until one day, something happens that forces her to kill one of her own kind, and the evil queen banishes her up to the mortal human land to live as a human until the winter solstice. And if by the time the winter solstice comes along, she can get Prince Elian's heart, she will be allowed to go back into the ocean as a siren. If not, she has to live on land as a human. Prince Elian is a siren hunter, which is another level of like angst and oof. And he saves this drowning girl from the ocean, and they kind of make a pact together to hunt these sirens, but things start getting a little bit tricky. I'm really excited for this. I love siren and siren-esque type stories. I feel like this is going to be exactly the type of story that really draws me in, and I love siren stories. I just love them so much. And this is kind of like an Evil, the Little Mermaid retelling, which I'm kind of here for. Like, I'm really excited. So I think this is going to be a really good book for me. Next is Stiggled by Tobley Smith. This is another book that came out in 2020 that I still have not read. This book is about Pony, who ended up switching schools after he came out as transgender because a lot of people were bullying him and misgendering him, and he just wanted to stay under the radar until he was able to go to college. Enter Georgia, who comes in. She's like, okay, you know what? I really don't want to be cheerleading this year. I don't want to date this year. I just really want to focus on school and really want to focus on myself, and then I'll be out of here. And the two of them meet, and obviously things do not go as they were hoping, and they start to develop some sparks, and it becomes this cute little romance. And I'm really hoping to absolutely adore this book. I have extremely high hopes. I have nothing but the utmost expectations for this story. I've heard so many fantastic things about it, and I cannot wait to have it and love it and read it and swoon. Next is another book that came out in 2020, and that is You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. This book is about a girl named Liz who always wanted to leave her little small town. So her goal was to go into Pennington College, play in the orchestra, and become a doctor. And that was going great until her school funding fell through. So now she doesn't know what she's going to do. She remembers that the prom queen and king get financial aid to go to any school that they want. So she's like, do I really want to deal with all of the internet trolls, all of the competition, all of the rivalry? She's like, do I want to do it? She ends up thinking, yes, I do, because I really want to go to Pennington College. So that's all cool until this lovely, lovely, lovely girl comes into the picture, and Liz starts falling for her, but there's a small problem because she's also running for prom queen. So this sounds so cute. I've heard literally nothing but good things about this book. I know that Leah Johnson just took over the book community for a hot minute, and I missed it. I don't know why I missed it, but I didn't get to read it. So I really want to read it this year. I want to make up for lost time. Next is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This is a book about a girl named Vasilia who lives on the outskirts of a Russian wilderness with her siblings and their father and their nurse. Their nurse sits around the fire with them almost every night and tells them stories, tells them fairy tales. And Vasilia's favorite is about Frost, this blue-eyed demon who comes and he scours the wilderness looking for unwary souls, and he steals them, and that's that. Her nurse says that one of the best ways to keep this demon out of their home is to practice worshiping the household spirits, and they do that, so they're safe. Until the father goes to Moscow to bring a new bride home, and she says, no, this is stupid, you cannot worship these household spirits, that's dumb. So things start happening, crops start dying, wealth, who is she? No more. Evil creatures from the forest are starting to pitter-patter into the village. So now Vasilia is like, okay, there might be something actually true about these fairy tales that I used to be told. So she harnesses this long-kept secret ability, her powers, and she knows that she has to save her she has to save her village. And I think it sounds really cute. It sounds like something that I would want to read in the winter. I mean, I'm not like a mood seasonal reader, like it doesn't bother me, but it still sounds like what I'd want to read in the winter just because it's like in the winter. I don't know. Maybe it would be really good on like a really, really hot day in the summer, and then I can be like, no, I'm with Vasilia in the cold. We don't know heat. We don't have this heat wave coming through. We don't feel everything rubbing off of our body, so that would be nice. The next book I want to read is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This book is literally everywhere. Like, I cannot escape A Darker Shade of Magic, so I want to be a part of it now. So this book is about Kel, who is one of the last known Antari. And an Antari is a magician with a rare ability to travel through these different types of Londons, like these parallel Londons. So there's red London, white London, grey London, and at one point in time there was a black London as well. Cal was raised in red London, and he serves the ambassador as somebody who travels through the different parallels and does things important things. Unofficially, Kel is a smuggler, so he takes people on these adventures to lands that they won't be able to ever see in their life because they don't have the ability to travel. But one time, this transition went awry, and Kel ended up fleeing to Grey London, this magicless, disappointing place. And there he meets Delilah, and Delilah is a thief with big dreams. First she robs him, then she saves him, and then she makes him take her on the adventure of her life. And obviously things are happening and dangers are lurking because it's a fantasy, and that's that. This would be the first book I've read by V.E. Schwab in my entire life, but I've heard nothing but good things about her writing. Well, that's a lie. I have heard some things about her writing that aren't as good, but I really do just want to be a part of this V.E. Schwab fan club. And I know this is an adult fantasy, and I'm not typically an adult fantasy reader, but like, I think I could vibe with this. I think Delilah will be... Actually, I don't think Delilah, because I've heard people didn't like Delilah because V.E. Schwab can't write female characters that well, but we'll see. I think the premise, and I think the ideas, and I think the fact that it's set in London will be good. So we'll see. Finally, the last book on this list is The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. This will be my first Christina Lauren book. This book is about Olive, who is the twin sister of Amy, and they are the complete opposites in the luck department. Amy is marrying this gorgeous guy. She's been able to finance her own wedding thanks to winning a bunch of online internet competitions, and she is just like living the life. Whereas Olive is very unlucky in the love department, very unlucky in her job, and just very unlucky in general because she has to walk arm in arm down the aisle with the best man Ethan, who is her sworn enemy. So she's just ready for this day to be over. She's ready to never see Ethan again and go back to her simple, comfy life. But the entire wedding party gets taken down by shellfish, except for her and Ethan. There was some bad shellfish. Now there is an entire up for grabs, all expenses paid trip to Hawaii. So Olive and Ethan are like, let's go and let's just never see each other. That would be great. But then Olive runs into her new boss, who she had to lie to go to Hawaii. So Ethan and Olive pretend that they're married, a happy in love newlywed couple. And that's all cool, except now Olive's kind of like, wait a second, like, do I like him? Like, what's going on? So that. I've heard such good things about this book. I've heard such good things about their writing in general. Like, I've heard so many people just say that Christina Lauren is the best writing duo that they had ever read for like adult romance type books. I'm ready to be in that fan club as well. I want to love more Christina Lauren books because some of the books sound so cute. So I'm ready to read The Honeymooners. If I don't read it, I'll be disappointed. So those are the 10, I think, if I can count, books that I want to read in the year 2021. Obviously, they're not going to be the only books I read, but those are the books I really want to read. So if y'all see me in the end of 2021, having not read any of these books, get on my ass and be like, Sasha, you made an entire video dedicated to these books that you want to read. Why didn't you read them? But anyways, that is all I have for you today. Thank you for tuning into this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. I do try to post twice a week. And until next time, bye readers.